Hey guys, Current Chips Mining here. Wanted to do an update on my two KS3Ms which I purchased through Nhash, which is a reseller obviously of ASICs and other mining hardware, but I actually managed to get them hosted directly with Iceriver. I did originally look on a previous video as I shared on buying them with Iceriver, but they were sold out, but luckily Nhash sorted me out. Team over there were brilliant, and my miners were activated. I say delivered. I believe they're already with Iceriver, and they were activated. So I want to talk you guys through how Iceriver hosting works. Am I impressed with it? The pros, the cons, how easy it was to set up, etc. So the first thing that happens when you buy a miner directly from Iceriver to be hosted is you have to have an account on Iceriver's official website. And actually, I'm just going to quickly go off on a tangent here, but who else wants to buy one of these KSO Pros? These green ones. I know they're not going to make much money now, but they look so cool. I think I'm going to order one just because they look cool. I mean, Casper in 6-7 years makes us millionaires. I'll still have one of these and I'll stick it in a glass cabinet and it'll look wicked. Anyway, so yeah, you need an account with Iceriver. And then depending on whether you buy from Iceriver directly, if they have them in stock, which if I currently click on hosting, they probably don't. No, all sold out. $8,000 all sold out. But if you did manage to buy one, or if you went along the route that I did and purchased it via, say, someone like Nhash, then you give them your account email address. Obviously not your logins, your account email address. And then in my case, in about 4 working days, you get an email saying, congratulations, Curry, your Icerivers are now ready to be activated. Please pay a one-time activation fee, which was $20 to get these things online. So I was like, yes, I'm excited. Got my email, logged into my account, and there was no order for the KS3Ms. I was like, oh, this is frustrating. Maybe it's because I bought it for a third party. So I went back to the third party, Nhash. They were like, look, you need to wait. It takes about half an hour from when you've got that email to then be able to log into your account and see them. So I waited half an hour, I waited an hour, and I couldn't see them. However, I didn't need to, because what you actually need to do is you need to download this app. Now, I know it's available on Google Play, so it's available for Android. I'm a big Android fan, not an iPhone user, so I was perfectly happy. I download IR hosting on my phone, and lo and behold, they were my two KS3Ms waiting for activation. So I was really, really chuffed with that. I also managed to find this, which is the Iceriver website for looking at hosting online on a web page. So if you don't have an Android device, or if they don't do an iOS version of that app, then obviously you can still do it via the IR hosting domain. And I'll share all these links in the description below. But the first thing you need to do is put some money on your account, because ultimately you need to pay them for electricity. They bill at 8 cents per kilowatt, which is, to me, is absolutely amazing. As you know from my accent and where I'm based in the UK, we pay close to 28p per kilowatt, which is probably about 35 cents. So to get it for 8 cents just means my profitability is so much higher. Plus, I really wanted to go into hosting because these are big, these are big ASICs, 3,400 watts, 75 decibels. No way I was going to have these sitting in my home. And I couldn't find a UK host either. So I had to give it a go. So anyway, I went to top up my account, and I actually did this via the app. But what you do is you go into electricity billing, and you can go into cost recharge. And in here, you can top up either by a prefixed amount, which they've allowed down here at the bottom, or you can type in the amount that you want. And then what happens is the moment you type in that amount, it then takes you through to something through CoinPay, I think it's called. Yeah, CoinPal, sorry. And CoinPal basically gives you a deposit address based on the cryptocurrency that you want to send. So in my case, I sent over USDT on the Tron network. I believe it also supports the Ethereum network. And I believe you could also pay in things like Bitcoin. I didn't actually notice if you could pay in Casper, but I actually want to hold my Casper, so I didn't want to get rid of any of that. But basically, you get your deposit address. You then send the relevant currency, so in my case, USDT on the Tron network, to that address. Within an hour, it gives you a 1-hour timer, and I found that within 10 minutes my funds are on my account, so I was good to go. I always had to pay $40 because I had 2 miners to activate it, and then the rest goes towards power and electricity ultimately. But you can see here on my billing that I had a little bit of a mishap when I originally got my logins and I could see my miners, I was just excited. I just wanted to get some money on there. So I first of all topped up on the 28th of February, 300 US dollars, but I still couldn't do anything. And I was like, what the hell's going on? So I figured out that actually what you need to do is you need to put enough funds on the account to actually pay for 1 month's worth of hosting for your miners. If you had one miner, it'd obviously be less than what I had to pay, but I've got two miners. Then the activation fee, the initial setup fee, you can see it here, came out on the 28th. The $20 comes off that amount. And then after 2 days of them being online, they actually then take payment for 30 days worth of electricity. So I've effectively paid over 30 days in advance. I've got 30 days gone, so I've currently got $35 sitting in my account, but I've got 31 days, a month's worth of electricity paid for. And in terms of the portal and what they give you, I'm really impressed with it. Like, it's really, really good. And you can tell it's built by Iceriver, or certainly a bit influenced by Iceriver, because it very much looks a lot like the ASIC admin panel that you get on KSOs, KS3Ms, etc. So if I talk you through the menus, if I go onto Miner Overview, it gives you a real-time hash rate of what they're currently doing, tells you how much your balance of your electricity account is, how many days coverage you've got until you run out, and it also notifies you if any of your miners have got abnormal hash rate or not working correctly. And you can see here that actually they've been really, really good and really stable. I had a bit of a mishap on the first few days where one of my miners was being a bit funny, but Iceriver, I contacted them via Contact Us via email, and they came back to me within like 2-3 hours, and they apologized. They said we just actually upgrading some things. I think it was to do with power. And since then, they've been really stable. And you can see, I should be getting 12 terahash because I've got two 6 terahash devices, and I am regularly getting over that. Sometimes I'm spiking almost close to 14. Look, 14.4. And there, 14.96. So I don't know, is Iceriver actually overclock or are using stock firmware? I think they probably are. I'd be very surprised if they do overclock. But yeah, I'm generally getting above the 12 I always have. You can see it's dropped there to 11.3, but not for long, and it creeps back up. So I'm really impressed with this admin panel. On the Contact Us, I think the team have been great. They've always come back to me pretty swift. I do wish that they had a Telegram or a WhatsApp or a Discord channel just so you could get quicker information, but that's just simply a patience thing. If we then go to Miner, and this is how you configure your flight sheets, and of course you can configure them to mine Casper or any other crypto that is available on their K-heavy hash algorithm that supports ASICs. I am mining Casper on these two devices, and it's really easy to do. You simply create a name for your miner. So I've got one called Freddy. It's a funny story why it's called Freddy. And then I've got one called KS3M, just to keep it nice and simple. And then if you go into configuration, this is where you set your pool details. So for me, I'm currently mining to Humpool in Europe. So it's the Europe stratum. I've obviously got backup ones in the US. And Humpool is very much like F1 pool. And in fact, I would actually say the interface of Humpool is freakishly like K1 pool. I would be surprised if they're separate companies unless it's been completely ripped off. I don't know. I don't want to insult Humpool there, but their interface is incredibly similar to F2 pool. But yeah, you literally do the stratum address. You then do your username, not your wallet address if you're using Humpool or K1 pool. So in my example, it's carrying chips. And then your miner name. Now, normally on any ASIC, I'm used to putting my wallet address dot the name of the miner. But with this hosting facility, you don't do that, because in the previous screen, you could see you actually set your miner name here, and it then adds that to the end of the address, and that's what gets sent to the pool. And then what you can also do with this, which I'm impressed with, is you can set up two-factor authentication, so Google Authenticator or your choice of authenticator, so no one can log in and change all your details or whatever. And then you've got things like Miner Watcher. So if you're using F2 pool, for example, or K1 pool or two miners, you can actually get the API from that pool from your login account and add that into here on the configuration. And then you also get notifications within this web panel for what's going on at the pool side, which I think is brilliant. So from Iceriver hosting side, I'm really impressed. The app's really good. It's easy to use, and I've been impressed with it. And then in terms of my earnings, I mentioned on my previous video, for me, this is the biggest risk I've ever taken in crypto. I've been doing crypto for about 2 years. GPU mining, CPU mining, home ASICs. I've got a few devices hosted elsewhere, but I've never bought a full-size ASIC. I went for it and I bought two. And how are my earnings going? So if I now go on over to Humpool, and I've actually, it's a bit hard to work out, a little bit tricky to work out, because I've actually got 5 devices on Humpool at the moment. I've got my 2 KS3Ms, and then I've got my 3 KSO Pros. But you can see here that the hash rate that I'm getting, 24-hour hash rate on my KS3Ms are both over 6 terahash. So they're averaging over 6 terahash, so I'm happy with that. I've then got my overclocked KSO Pros. 2 of them are on a 280 gigahash one, and one's actually on a 260. Because, you know, Silicon Lottery, it just did not want to go any higher. So I've put it on a more stable one. And in terms of my earnings, I'm really pleased, like really, really happy. So you can see here that I started mining on this pool on the 29th, but my first full day was actually the 1st. And I'm averaging over 800 Casper a day. Which I'm really, really pleased with. You can see my payouts here. You know, I've earned 3,268 Casper since I started mining on the pool on the 29th. So a big thing for me is I paid for these miners out of my holdings, not of Casper, but of other crypto. So I didn't actually really have to delve into my own pocket. But it's really important that I recoup that money back before this bull run starts. So I wanted to get these things online ASAP, which is another reason why I went for hosting. Because if I'd have got these delivered to me, that'd have taken 2 weeks. And 2 weeks in the world of Casper is a long time. The network gets busier all the time. And of course, you got that blockchain reward that goes down by 10%, I think it is, every month. So I wanted to get them online. So how does this actually work out in terms of earnings? Well, it's difficult for me to say my exact earnings on each device because, of course, I've got other devices on the pool. Kind of wish I didn't do that now. But anyway, it is what it is. But if we go over to What2Mine, and if we look at the good old KS3M, let's have a look. So it actually reckons at the moment that Cedra is the most profitable coin for me, but I'm not mining that. I might consider changing to it. But to be honest, the revenue isn't that much higher. So I think I'll just stick with where I am because I'd have to bother with swapping things over. I don't really want to hold a Cedra. I want to hold Casper. So you can see here that it estimates that my awards daily should be about 380 Casper. Now, if I then look at let's say 280 gigahash on my KSO Pros, what does that believe? Reckons I'd get about 17. So let's do a quick calculation, guys, here to work out my earnings. So if I've got 17 times 3, 51. So that seems about right. About 50 Casper for my 3 KSOs, which means if I look at my payments, yesterday's revenue was 861. So 861. So yeah, if we go through my payments then, we can see that about 51 Casper is what I've earned on my KSO Pros, roughly, which means I've then got 810 Casper left based on yesterday's revenue, which is being generated by my KS3Ms. So what does that turn out in terms of real money? And when am I gonna ROI on these things? Or what's the forecast look like? Well, if we go over to Casper and we have a little look at what Casper's doing, so if I was mining 810 Casper, that's 136 US dollars. My power that I'm paying on a daily rate is, let's go back to my miner, 653. It's got 6.53 times 2. 1306 is what it's costing me to run these things a day. And then my revenue is 136. So that means I'm making 122 Casper profit per day. We'll call it 123. We'll round upwards. I'm a salesman at the end of the day. We like to round upwards if we can. 123, and that works out in monetary value. What's $123? So yeah, I'm making $123, which works out as a net profit after power of 732 Casper. And I paid $15,000 for these two ASICs. So if I divide that by 123, it's going to take me 121 days to ROI. Well, you know what, guys? If that happens, that's going to take me roughly what's that? 4 months. If I ROI on these in 4 months, I will be ecstatic because not only will I have recouped all my money back on what I put into these miners, but I'll also still own the miners. And whether Casper Network is so big, and I can't get any more on that, I will just flip them onto Cedra probably, and obviously I can mine on those. So I'm really happy. Things are going well. I'd love your guys' feedback on what you think of the Iceriver hosting. Is it something you're using? Is it something you consider? How you think everything's going in terms of Casper as well? Are we all excited about the bull run? I know I am. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you found this video helpful, and I will catch you in my next video. Cheers. Bye.